we have got 5 awards that are going to be presented to our colleagues across TASA. I very much want to thank those people that have contributed to the assessment of these awards. This is time consuming, it's service to our discipline, and particularly during a time when we have been also thinly spread. The service to discipline that I have seen happen within TASA has really moved me. So first of all, I'd like to introduce Xiaoying Qi, who headed our Jean Martin Award, took on that very big responsibility. So for you to now present that award, over to you.
Thank you, Althea. I'd like to thank Althea, Postma University, and Sally Daly for their support. I'd also like to thank panel members for the time, attention, and significant commitment they gave to the lengthy process of selecting the best PhD theses in sociology submitted over the past 2 years. Without the participation of Catherine Gomez, Vaughan Higgins, Bryden Lenny, Roger Patana, and Ben Wadham, it simply would not have been possible to select the recipient of this year's Jean Martin Award. 23 PhDs were considered, all of an exceptionally high standard. There can be no doubt about the future of Australian sociology. Great care was taken in evaluating the quality, sociological significance, and the scope of each thesis. It is my great pleasure to tell you that the panelists judged Catriona Stevens' thesis, Unlike Settlers in Exceptional Times, to be this year's recipient of the Jean Martin Award. Drawing on extensive interviews, Catriona's ethnography shows how capital-constrained migrants with low Australian literacy strategically optionalize various resources and capabilities to achieve their migration objectives. At the core of the thesis is a compelling argument about the dominant relevance of social class as a viable analytical framework for treating migration. The ambitious scope of Catriona's thesis and its combination of rich empirical data and depth analysis provides fresh insights into a core concept of classical sociological theory underutilized in sociological studies of migration and transnationalism. In summary, Catriona's thesis is exceptional in terms of its substantive and theoretical contribution to sociological knowledge. Congratulations, Catriona.
Thank you so much, Xiaoying. I have to say, I really enjoyed doing my PhD. I loved every bit of it. I loved the field work. I loved getting to know my participants and their worlds. I loved the theory and the reading, and when the empirical work finally came together with the theory in a way that was, for me, really satisfying and, could I even say, fun, if that isn't weird? It's such a great feeling, and so to know that my work has been read by scholars I admire, scholars such as yourself, whose work I so admire, it's really overwhelming, and I'm overjoyed to have that experience. I'm also feeling a lot of other emotions today. However, as many of you know, I expect all of you know, UWA has decided to discontinue the anthropology and sociology major. and to disband the discipline group where I received my postgraduate training. At the same time, the fields of research like migration, ethnicity, multiculturalism, where my work best sits, are being entirely erased from the research agenda at the School of Social Sciences. What many of you probably don't know is that that's happening right now. So today, yesterday, tomorrow, the colleagues, the mentors who guided me to become the academic that I am today are being told that their knowledge and their expertise are no longer required. So yeah, overjoyed, but there's a lot of other emotions going on in here as well. I need to thank people. Thank you, first of all, to Xiaoying and to the rest of the committee for taking all the time to read not only my dissertation, but all the other, I'm sure, really excellent works that were submitted. Thank you to TASA. This is a great association, and I have really enjoyed being part of this over the years and finding a home here and meeting friends and like-minded people. Thank you to my family who supported me throughout all of this. Thank you to the friends, staff, postgrads and postdocs in anthropology and sociology, in Asian studies and beyond, who've been with me throughout this whole journey. And thank you also to, of course, my supervisors, Nick Harney, Dev McDougall, Farida Fazdar, and of course, Loretta Baltazar, who I'm privileged to continue working alongside in the SAGE lab. It's a great honor to receive the Jean Martin Award, and I am so thrilled to be part of this new chapter in Australian sociology. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Kat, and thank you for sharing what is happening, but congratulations on this achievement. And
thank you, Althea.
Yes, the Jean Martin Award certainly is an achievement, and we will continue to talk through what is happening with UWA as we go through the conference. So I'm going to move on to the Journal of Sociology Best Paper Award, and I'd like to invite the Editor-in-Chief, Helen Forbes-Mewett, to present that award.
Thanks, Althea. First of all, I'd just like to briefly convey my thanks to the panel who worked so tirelessly on coming to a winner for this award, and also how difficult it was for them to choose from all the fantastic and diverse papers. And it was wonderful to have the opportunity to look at so many of them in great detail. And of course, this was a reflection of the amazing, vibrant and community that we have contributing to the Journal of Sociology. So I'll just go straight to the winning paper. And the article was titled Learning Her Culture and Growing Up Strong, Aboriginal and or Torres Strait Islander Fathers, Children and the Sharing of Culture. The authors were Prehn, Michael Guerzoni and Hugh Peacock. This paper, the judging panel chose this article because it embeds an Indigenous worldview, engages with a timely topic, and the content and writing were exceptional. It was a really valuable contribution to international and Australian sociology at a critical time. So just before we call on the authors, I can see the first author here in our audience. So just before we call for a response, I'd also like to mention that because of the incredible papers that we had submitted, there was also two special commendations, which I'll just mention the names of the papers and the authors here. We had one by Jackie Gabb, Elizabeth McDermott, Rachel Easton and Ali Hanbury, and that paper was Paradoxical Family Practices, LGBTQ plus Young People Mental Health and Wellbeing. And the second special commendation was by Iris Poyilo, And it was family formation, among others, in urban China, strategies for forming families and navigating relationships with families of origin. So back to our winning paper. Congratulations to all of those people. And back to our winning paper with the authors. I believe I now need to hand over to the for a response from at least one of the authors in the audience. Thank you.
Thanks, Helen. Yeah, so I'll talk on behalf of my two authors. So fellow sociologists, Journal of Sociology staff, the Australian Sociological Association affiliates and other guests. Greetings from Nipaluna, Hobart, which is the traditional lands of the Moonahina people. So I speak on behalf of my co-authors in saying that we're truly honoured to be receiving the Best Manuscript Award today. And we sincerely thank the Journal of Sociology for selecting our work. As three early career Aboriginal researchers, we were overwhelmed when we were notified of receiving the award. This has been a deep encouragement to the three of us. We recognise wholeheartedly that this achievement is a testament to many people that have invested in us over many years, and we'd like to take this opportunity to thank those people now. So firstly, we would like to thank our mentor, distinguished Professor Emerita Maggie Walter, for her ongoing mentoring, support and guidance. Since starting our research training, Maggie has generously given us lots of encouragement, time and wisdom, alongside opportunities to develop and hone our skills. And it was also Maggie that modelled to us what being Aboriginal academics looks like. So we're incredibly indebted to Maggie. We'd also like to thank Professor Douglas Ezzi and Dr. Susan Banks from the University of Tasmania for their support and feedback regarding the manuscript. They've been fantastic mentors and advisors, supporting our ongoing development. Mike here on my right would like to extend his heartfelt thanks to distinguished Professor Emeritus Rob White, Associate Professor Pritchard, Dr. Leonie Howes and Dr. Vicky Nagy for their generous provision of time, support, mentoring and instruction. He's indebted to them and very grateful. And then we'd also like to thank our colleagues more broadly within the School of Social Sciences at the University of Tasmania for their ongoing support to the three of us as early career academics. As it takes a community to raise a child, so too does it take a faculty to raise an academic, and we're most grateful to all our colleagues. We are each most grateful to our family and friends who've also supported us in our training and work, and each of us over the decade. We could not have done this without their support, encouragement and graciousness. And a final thank you goes to the participants and the staff involved in a longitudinal study of Indigenous children. Without their input, the paper wouldn't have been possible, and we recognise the sacrifices of time that this requires, with the data being collected annually, alongside the vulnerability and trust that the questions require. So thank you all again for this award. It's a real honour and an achievement that will surely stay with us throughout our careers. So thank you.
Thank you, and congratulations to the three of you. I love that idea that it takes a faculty to raise raise an academic. That's wonderful. Thank you. Okay, that moves us on to our Health Sociology Review Best Paper Award. So I can see Karen Lewis, and I believe Sarah McLean is also here. Yes, I can see Sarah as well. So over to the two of you.
Thanks very much, Althea. I think Sarah is my backup in the case of internet failure, which living in the regions is very common. And While I mention I'm living in the regions, I should also mention to you that I'm coming to you from the land of the Wathaurong people and acknowledge the traditional owners of the land and pay my respects to elders past, present and emerging. The Best Paper Award for Health Sociology Review is judged biennially to reward papers of outstanding quality published in our journal in the previous 2 years. So the award this year covers the years 2019 and 2020, 43 papers eligible for consideration. On behalf of Sarah, my co-editor-in-chief, I wish to thank the Associate Editor team and the members of the International Editorial Board who contributed to the peer review of assessment of the eligible papers. We asked them to do so using criteria relating to methodological and analytical rigour, theoretical approach and application, and the extent to which the papers extend and enrich contemporary debates in health sociology. The standard of papers is high, and the process of assessing papers is always challenging and thought-provoking. This year, we have a special commendation and a winner. Both of them will be available via online access for the 3 months after this announcement, and I really encourage you to take the opportunity to access them both. The commendation for the 2021 Best Paper Award was published in issue 3 of 2020, and it's titled The Age of Lark, Making Sexual Citizens on the Frontiers of Techno-Scientific Healthism. And the authors are Dr. Jenny Bryan from Arizona State University, Associate Professor Patrick Grantz from University of Tennessee, and Associate Professor Emily Mann from the University of South Carolina. The winner of the award for 2021 Best Paper Award has, in the words of one of the assessors, provided a really thoughtful analysis which is at the intersection of fundamental causes and diffusions of innovation. Their paper was published in issue 2 of 2019, and it's titled The Reproduction of Health Inequalities Through the Process of Disseminating Preventive Innovations, the Dynamic Influence of Socioeconomic Status. The modelling that they use of the diffusion of varying health practices in Spain, in their words, offers a dynamic imagery that can help to explain the generation and diminishment of inequalities. And as such, it advances one of the core intellectual tasks of sociology in general and health sociology in particular. I congratulate them on their article. I want to thank them for publishing it in our journal, Health Sociology Review. And I've got great pleasure in announcing that the winners of the 2021 Best Paper Award in Health Sociology Review are Associate Professor Ángel Zapata-Moya from University Pablo de Olivardi in Spain, Barbara Willems and Professor Piet, Bracke, both from Ghent University in Belgium. And I'm absolutely delighted that I think at least 2 of them are with us today, despite the time differences, to accept this award. So congratulations, and thank you very much for joining us to accept the award.
Thank you very much, Karen. I must say the greeting from Belgium and from Spain, Europe, where indeed it is very early in the morning at this stage. So I hope that you see this as an indication of how pleased we are and how much we feel privileged with having had this award. Ángel is also here. And we decided that I would say a few words in follow-up of the overhanding of the award. So let me start a bit more formally by greeting Madam President, and then of course both of the editors, but also you colleagues. We feel privileged, as I already told you, to be here, and me personally, on behalf of both co-authors of the paper, Ángel and Barbara, I must say we had a great time collaborating, and we see the award as a confirmation by the scientific community of the relevance and the quality of our work. Let me say a few words about the whole process and the ideas behind the paper. Both Barbara Willems and Angel, they were at the time of writing the paper and getting it published, PhD students in my research group in Belgium. Both graduated in the meantime. Barbara, she left academia, and Angel, presently here at the meeting, he was appointed associate professor at the University of Pablo de Olavide in Sevilla, in Spain, where at the moment he is combining his health sociological knowledge with research on urban regeneration. So let's say place and institutional effects. In my research group at Ghent University in Belgium, let's say, which is in between Amsterdam, London, and Paris, we focus, amongst others, on population health from a macro-sociological perspective. We want to understand how the diffusion of technological innovation in secondary prevention helps to reproduce health inequalities and augments population health at the same time. In the present paper that got the award, we use the data of the Spanish Oncobarometer. It's a general health survey, but focused on cancer and cancer screening. And we examine how socioeconomic inequality and health evolves along the cycle of the diffusion of 6 relevant preventive practices in Spain. So our results confirm the dynamic reproduction of health inequalities along the diffusion stages of these preventive measures. So to sum up, although inequalities initially arise and subsequently decrease when new technologies are introduced and evolve, during their adaptation from first being innovative and then subsequently being commonly adapted by the large majority of the population, we constantly see the cyclic but continuing reproduction of health inequalities along these cycles. Now, in subsequent research, we will use these insights to model the impact of various institutional forces on the unequal participation in screening programs. We are extending our findings from our study, published in a Health Sociology Review, to most countries in Europe, but also to the United States. In the latter case, Angel is presently exploring the reproduction of inequalities along the diffusion cycle of a broad multitude of preventive innovations in the United States in collaboration with Jimmy Fries from Stanford University. And in Ghent, at present, we are collaborating with colleagues from the University of Geneva, Stéphane Coulati and Claudine Burton-Jangreau. And we also focus on institutional forces. For instance, we try to see whether the presence of gender inequality has a substantive impact on the regeneration of these inequalities. Just to give one example. In conclusion, I must say, we hold the journal Health Sociology Review in high regard. We had the honor of having several manuscripts published in the journal the past years. And I must say that we really appreciate the professional management of the review process by the editorial board and the high quality of the review reports. They always substantially augment the quality of our papers. Actually, we always feel welcome as health sociologists when we contact the journal, even if now and then we got some of our manuscripts rejected. So, also in name of Angel and Barbara, I want to conclude by expressing my deepest gratitude. Dear colleagues, we consider the prize as a great honor, and we want to thank the jury and also TASA, of course. Thanks.
Thank you so much. And congratulations to the three of you, and thank you for representing yourself and your co-authors. I now am very much needing to read that particular piece that I've not yet had the opportunity to do so. So congratulations again. Let's move on now to our Early Career Researcher Award. I'd like to invite our Vice President, Peacock, to present this award.
Thank you very much, Althea. First of all, I just want to say I'm joining today from Nipaluna Lutruwita, Hobart, Tasmania, the unceded lands of the Palawa people. It was my great pleasure to chair this committee for the most distinguished peer-reviewed article published by an Early Career Researcher Award. The committee was composed of TASA members from different universities, different research interests and different career stages. So I just want to thank the members of the committee, Anthony K.J. Smith, last year's winner, Andrian Faruga, Jenny Chesters and Paolo Singh for their contributions and time. I must say that all the submissions that we received for this award were of very high quality and very divergent sociological fields, which made it absolutely fantastic as a committee to read that diversity of Australian sociology and the power and strength of our ECRs. The winning article pushes forward an idea of after neoliberalism. It generates new ways of thinking about neoliberalism, state policies and policy enactment, and it also has very direct relevance to policy. So without further delay, the winner of the most distinguished peer review article published by an Early Career Research Award is Andrew Clark for their article, Bureaucratic Encounters After Neoliberalism, Examining the Supportive Turn in Social Housing Governance, which was published in the British Journal of Sociology. So please join me now in congratulating Andrew.
Thank you, Peter and all. I am, of course, very honoured to receive this award, and particularly given from what I've heard the quality of the other papers put forward, and I can imagine, knowing my colleagues, early career colleagues in TASA, that there would have been a lot of really good papers. So thank you very much. I also wanted to say thanks to TASA generally for the support that I've received and the opportunities that I've received from the organisation over the years, including the opportunity to get together at the annual conference. And I'm really looking forward to doing that again in the future. I'd also like to thank the panel for reading all of our papers. I mean, knowing that the paper is being read by anyone in and of itself is an exciting, prospect. So thank you very much for that. And finally, I'd like to thank my, I had two co-authors on the paper, Linda Cheshire and Cameron Parcell. And I just thought I would extend a thanks to them. Basically, Cameron and Linda had, this paper was based on a piece of contract research that they had done for the Queensland government, looking at a particular support program for at-risk social housing tenants. And basically they invited me, gave me the opportunity to come on board, basically gave me access to this data, and you know, there was and a report that was for government quite descriptive, and said, do you want to do something sociological with this? And I had a lot of fun doing that, bringing my theoretical interests to bear, and to trying to contribute and I guess complicate some of the discourses around, you know, critical discourses around neoliberalism and the way that it functions in Australian social policy and social housing policy, and housing policy more broadly across the developed world. So yeah, thank you all again, and that's it for me.
Congratulations, Andrew. And thank you for your work. I really like that this part of our conference is highlighting the great achievements of our colleagues of our of sociology, both within and outside of our association. I think it's a great way to cap off the year. Now I'd like to end with our awards. We've got one more left. This is to go to our Postgraduate Impact and Engagement Award. And I would like to invite Anthony Smith, Anthony K.J. Smith, to present this award.
Thanks, Althea. And just acknowledging I'm speaking from unceded Bedegal country. So the Postgraduate Impact and Engagement Award was set up by the previous postgrad portfolio leader, Ben Lohmeyer, and commenced in 2020. It aims to recognise the contributions of TASA postgraduates that is of high value to Australian society and or sociology. In particular, the award values excellence across teaching, community engagement, and non-traditional academic outputs, including valuing scholarship that might include but also extend beyond publication and citation metrics. Applicants are asked to demonstrate how they have contributed to impact and engagement in their areas of focus during their postgrad studies. I encourage postgraduates and their supervisors here to consider applying for next year. And I want to acknowledge that this decision was reached through a judging panel, including members of the Postgraduate Subcommittee, Dorinda Tahar and Jane Jin, and TASA executive members Heidi Hetz and Ramon Menendez. It was a delight to review the high quality applications we received, which demonstrated fantastic postgraduate scholarship in multiple areas. So for 2021, it is my pleasure to announce that Eric Dennison from Monash University is the recipient of the TASA Postgraduate Impact and Engagement Award. Eric's application emphasised his research and advocacy in understanding and protecting youth from sexuality-related discrimination in sport. The judging panel were especially impressed with Eric's demonstrated impact in the sports industry, particularly through engagement with research partners to promote inclusion of diverse sexualities in multiple sporting codes, nationally and internationally. This was well evidenced through multiple letters from supporting collaborators who emphasised how Eric's work was contributing to change in the sector, including by documenting homophobia in sport and potential avenues for creating more inclusive cultures, but also through Eric's high quality publications and his media engagement and commentary on high profile events related to homophobia and sexuality in sport. On behalf of the judging panel and the TASA Postgraduate Subcommittee, I extend my congratulations to Eric.
Thank you so much. I know we're running late. Mind blown here in terms of the award. I just want to thank my husband who's online for all his support of the PhD, but also my supervisors, Carrie O'Brien, Ruth Jeans, and Nicholas Falconer, and just the Monash family. I work across multiple disciplines in the tradition of Raewyn Connell. I'm a behavior scientist, and so you draw on, you basically feel like you're grabbing from everyone to try and solve these problems. But I just, I'm so honored to win a sociology award because in my undergrad, I went to Sociology 101 and I was just amazed that this world exists, this science existed that studied the things that I experienced as a gay youth, that studied the inequality, that studied the feelings that I saw. My best friend was trans, and there was actually a science that studied this. And so to come full circle, and I remember I was the biggest fanboy of my professor. So to come full circle and now be winning a sociology award at the end of my PhD, I'm so grateful. I'm also really grateful to our industry partners, because sport gets a bad name in sociology, and certainly it's well-deserved, but there are some people out in sport who do want to make a difference. They do exist, and they're a bit hard to find, but they're there, and particularly in rugby union, they've been really good. Neil Hay in Rugby Victoria, and even in Rugby Australia in terms of their work. And also the You Can Play Foundation, which supported the research. And the Sydney Convicts, which is my gay rugby team. A lot of them contributed individually because, as you know,